Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Oluwole Aboyade, and today I want to talk about our future, the way forward. You see, when the Creator who has created everything in heaven and on earth is present in you, you must make command. If you don't make command, the presence of that Creator will exit your being, your existence, your consciousness, your vision, and look for somewhere else to do so. Now that you know, here are the things we need to do to move into a better direction. For most of you that are running away from the social media space, I know you must have encountered something must have happened while you are running away from that. Regardless of what has happened, I want you to understand that the history of social media is not more than 10, 15, 20 years ago. That's your truth. Now, what we need to do is that we have to put on the nature of mind, the user. And some of us who decided to go on that lonely journey of creativity and design to win the battle, to have command over all digital devices and their spaces, has won that battle. I'm one of them, and I'm sure there are others in other spaces. Now, this video shall exist for eternity because it carries command. That's your truth. And there shall be no digital device or no space that shall not accept this video as command and truth. Now, some people talk about algorithms, some people now are talking about social credit score like China. But China was at fault in one dimension, though they're moving into a better dimension, but they were at fault. They should have allowed Facebook to participate because if Facebook had been allowed into China, China would have had the mind of the user over the mind of the creator of Facebook. Because if you don't use it, you will not know the good and the bad side of it. That's your truth, China. Now, China has accepted that. Now, what we need to do now is that we all should be able to move in a better direction. For China, according to their social credit score, they're trying to talk about being a good citizen and being loyal to their environment and to their space. You can't blame them for that. America has credit score, which is based on money. But for them in China is based on character. And one thing we have to understand in today's world is that somebody will say this guy is not a good person, this person will say this person is not a good person, somebody will say my religion is better than your religion. But one thing, all of that is happening that we now know is that all of that is existing in space, and space is the common denominator that brings all of us together. Now, there shall be no intelligence, mind, vision, consciousness, language, thought to say what anything in this video is false. Now, if you look at what's happening now with the monetary system around the world, there's too much of corruption, and you can't blame anybody in particular because each and every one of us have participated in one way or the other. That's the truth. If, for example, you have government um, workers stealing from government, you have government workers hoeing their workers and stuff like that. So justification for corruption can come from different forms. You understand what I'm saying? Look at the case of Niger Delta. The Niger Delta militants were saying, you're destroying our environment, which we were going to fight you. So they were looting the oil, and the oil companies were losing money. Now, who are you going to blame? Are you going to blame the Niger Delta that are trying to fight for their environment? Or are you going to support the petroleum company that wants to make profit and that they don't care about the environment? So, regardless of all of that in our space today, from Russia to Africa, from Africa to Asia, everywhere on planet Earth, corruption is at the mind of everybody. But the solution, that's the good news. So now we've decided to look at what is space. to use as the yardstick to fight corruption. And what we're going to do, and we shall do, is that everybody, regardless of the country you are, we have to accept the fact that the digital space now is connected to all of us, regardless of our languages or our religion. That's our truth. There's no church, there's no mosque, there's no religion, there's no people that is not connected to the digital space. If they are not using Facebook, they are using our iPhone. If they are not using Chinese phone, they're using American phone. If they're not using American phone, they are using Roman car, Italian motor, or something. We're all connected to that digital space. So let's look at that common denominator, which is digital space. So now what we need to fight corruption is that we have to create the identity for each individual in all of the spaces. And for us to do that, we have to look at history. Remember now, history is very important. That is why those who were claiming that Lagos doesn't belong to the Yorubas, they erred, they made the greatest error that has now led to what's happening here in the digital space. But you see, in every era, there's what? There's opportunity. In military intelligence, you will know that from industrial complex of the military organizations, where there's crisis, there's opportunity. But in intelligence, in creativity, spirituality, where there's crisis, there's what? There's solution and there's command. And this is your command. Now, everybody, regardless of who you are, the Pope is already on social media. The Queen, who passed on, is already on social media. There's no religious body that is not on social media. So everybody must have at least 5 to 10 years of social media presence before you can access funds, before you can access banking, before you can even access any form of business. Yes, you must do that because we have to know who you are. Yes, that is one way to fight corruption. Now, in regards to those companies that are behind Facebook, social media platforms, regardless of if it's in China or if it's in Europe or in Africa or in Asia or in any part of Mother Earth or any space, known and unknown, please, I want you to understand that this is a command and you must obey it. The fact that you're walking behind the scene in a social media giant company does not give you the leverage as it has been reported by the US intelligence on social media. And some of you have seen the video that some FBI agents, some Secret Service agents were going after individuals, parents of children in America using their social media accounts. They were even going after some US politicians because of their voice on social media. Now, that case is still ongoing in America, but I have to intervene and you must obey. Now, regardless of what you call yourself, intelligence or whatever, you must obey that command. If you are found to have used access to any data, information on social media to commit crime against the person, the individual, the mind, or a group of people, you shall face the consequence. And the consequence is not likely to be something you will love. The consequence is not just jail. Jail is the punishment in the physical dimension. Imprisonment is the consequence in the physical dimension. There's also punishment in the spiritual and in the celestial dimension. And in that dimension, there's no sorry. I hope you know that. Yes. If you don't know history, you know it now. Now, again, for you to understand what's going on, the war that we have today in Ukraine, Trump said he has ability to stop it. That is the only person that can stop it. Now, I'm going to tell him, Trump, you are saying that because you want to become the president of America. Here's the command. You must stop the war now before becoming the president of America. If you don't stop the war now, Trump, listen, if you don't stop the war now before becoming the president of America, anybody that votes you to become the president of America, they shall inherit unrest, and that unrest shall be embedded or is already in them. Yes, because the fact that you told us that you have ability to stop the war in Russia, you have ability to stop Third World War, that means you know something about the cause of the war. So I'm giving you the command, stop the war now in Ukraine. Trump, former president of America. That's to you. Now, for those of you that will say, who is this guy talking? I don't need to explain myself or to try and describe myself to you. I already told you that's the command from the spiritual, from the celestial, and from the physical dimension. There shall be, again, command, there shall be no intelligence. To say anything in this video is not a command, and there shall be no digital device to say anything in this video is not a command. This is the command for all of intelligence. Now, to Russia, I want to share with you, for those of you that don't know what's going on, way before the war in Ukraine, the president or the leader of Russia, Putin, had appeared to me in the dream state, and he had told me about those who were after his life. Now, we're in the physical, and I'm sharing that intelligence with you, and I'm sure those who know what I'm saying, true intelligence that knows about creation, will say, yes, that's an absolute truth. Now, this is the command. The war in Ukraine, you must sit down and find a resolve. Now, we already know that when there's war, somebody is profiting. And those who are profiting, Trump has exposed them because he said he's the only one that can stop Third World War. So I'm giving him the command to do so. If he doesn't do so, he cannot become the president of America. No argument about that command. Now, as in regards to our financial space and our digital space that is connected to our financial space, every banking system in the world must pause, or the political system must pause. We need to sit down and rewind and look at the problem, look at where the problem is, because if you don't know the problem, you can't design the solution. So there must be a moment to shut down, look at the problem, find the problem, and start designing the solution to the problem. That's the command. Now, as regards to the normal average people who are just trying to make ends meet, there should be an option of financial services that will cater for them, and I know you can do that. So that's the command. And every time I come and I talk, you have to remember that's the command of time and space speaking, and there shall be no intelligence to say that shall not be so. Here in the physical, in the celestial, and in the spiritual. I'm Oluwole Aboyade. On Facebook, Aboyade Oluwole, your conscious creative space intelligence director. And until next time, stay well and stay blessed. Goodbye.